Are Paradox games in trouble? I'm talking obviously about Hearts of Iron 4, Europa Universalis 4, Victoria, Crusader Kings, Stellaris. Of course, there's City Skylines 2, and that whole controversy, that's a whole subject for a different video. But I'm mainly talking about their historical grand strategy map games. I just have been wanting to talk about this for quite some time because I woke up last year kind of realizing on my gaming channel, Drew, that I've kind of just become this channel that covers non-Paradox, but Paradox-style games. Like, I kind of do anything with a map over on my gaming channel because I just like that stuff. I don't know. I don't really like to play a lot of games, but I really still like strategy, map, history games, things like that. And because I had gotten so sick of playing Paradox games back in, like, 2021, I naturally just kind of fell into trying a whole lot of other stuff. And now it's very funny because now I have gone back to some Paradox games. I've experimented with like CK3 again and EU4 and Hearts of Iron 4. And funny enough, those things don't do good anymore. I was very surprised. Part of the reason is I think the people that watched me for that are long gone because it's been like 4 years since I had gone back to those games. But the other reason is I think, to be honest, Paradox is facing a lot of competition. Like I am, and like that's literally all I cover. I didn't mean to do it like that. It's just, I just happened to want to have gotten away from the games that I'd been playing for years and years and years. So I started covering a lot of the other things that were popping up, and it in a way can be seen as like Paradox's competition. And these games are getting so good. And it's so crazy because I was begging for this in like 2018, 2019, just something more simple, something more laid back. And I can tell you guys this right now, like, honestly, on like a weekly basis, I am just stumbling upon more and more Paradox-style games that are not Paradox. And I partly think that, I don't know why, like I know, so first of all, some of these games are being built by one person, which is incredible. And obviously, you know, these people were probably extremely influenced by Paradox games growing up, and now they're old enough to be able to design their own games. There's still a lot. It's just, what I'm saying is there's a lot of Paradox influence in these games, but there's a new one popping up, I feel like, every week, whether it pops up in my YouTube suggestions or you guys suggest games to me in my comment section or through Steam suggestions, just everywhere. And it's I'm just shocked, and I feel really lucky. I'm not complaining. Please keep them coming. Keep the flood coming of games. Sometimes I feel like I can't even cover all the games that I want to cover on my gaming channel because it's like, dang, like I'm playing this. Oh, I just found this new game. I literally found another new game this morning that hasn't been released yet, but it looks amazing. And you know, obviously, I've been able to find a lot of success in my gaming channel through a game called Dummy Nation, which is a great mobile Paradox game, essentially. And then other games like the World War Simulator. That's been a great kind of AI simulation. Obviously, there were IO games that are popping up for free on browser websites. Like, there's always been, you know, or Territorial IO has existed for a while now, but now there's OpenFront IO. And it's just like, from all aspects, I'm seeing these map strategy history games be covered by new people. And I love it. I love it because, to be honest, here's the issue. So Paradox, let me first say that Paradox is never going to go anywhere. I think they're going to be fine because but the thing is, they're going to be forced to lean into their depth. They're going to be forced to really go hard into being the grand strategy, you know, thing. That's what they're known for. These extremely kind of complicated games. But I remember there was a time there where it really felt like they wanted to kind of not get into that, because the problem with their business model is that it's really hard to get into. It's really hard for people to get into EU4 right now. I mean, I was someone that played EU4 for like a few years there in the very beginning, and it was just kind of hard to keep up because with every new DLC and new update, and I stopped playing EU4 for like 2 years there, and then I tried to jump back in like maybe 2020, and I'm like, what the hell is even going on? Like, it became too much, and I'm like, damn, I don't want to have to keep up with this. Now I wouldn't even be able to wrap my head around it at this point. But I remember it felt like when CK3 came out, they were attempting to, especially with the CK franchise of all, because I think CK does expand beyond just us map nerds, but it's felt like they were trying to make the barrier to entry a lot easier. At this point, that's not the case anymore because enough DLC and updates have, the game has become a lot more in-depth. But yeah, of course Paradox wanted to open up their audience for more people to join in on their franchise and their brand. But to be quite honest, I think that train is now long gone because there's so much competition from the mobile space, from the IO space. Like now, I think part of it is, it's becoming easier to develop video games. It's becoming easier for like a one-man band to make like a banger game. It might maybe not just man band, but just like 4 people, 2 people, 3 people. And the thing is, this space is able to move so fast. They don't just have to be like map games. They can be like like I covered this like itch.io game about the German elections in the late 1920s. I think it's called Social Democracy. And it's like stuff like that feels like it'd be Paradox, but they didn't ever cover it. And it was just like it's like if you ever play the Democracy series, Democracy 3 and 4, like it was such an interesting perspective, like how cool you have to like stop the Nazis from taking power of Germany, and obviously it ending up causing World War II. So yeah, like the one-man band indie developers are able to just move so much faster, and you're able to see what's able to to gain popularity just like through the marketplace. And it's just, I just feel like there's so much more competition. I feel like there's so many games that I want to play, and I'm not saying that I won't continue to cover Paradox games occasionally, but it's just been interesting because when I did go back to it briefly there, it was like they didn't do that great. Some of them did okay, some of them didn't. I'm just finding a lot of people, specifically my audience on Druwu, enjoying more of the games that they can just easily jump into, that they don't have to get 100 hours in before they can really begin to scratch below the surface. I think the things that still interest me when it comes to Paradox are honestly the mods. I still am on like kind of the workshop page and looking at like some of the more interesting mods that get developed, because that's just like, one idea from a dude that, decided like, what if India was an island or something like that? What if Australia was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean? I'm not sure I don't know why I remember specifically that scenario, but things like that I'm still kind of always viewing, and I will kind of cover those games from a observer point of view. But when it comes to playing, I probably won't do. And that's another whole thing about my gaming channel. It has been interesting to see that like I didn't realize that people would be interested in. I thought for a long time people didn't want to see me play video games or play these types of games because I wasn't that good. I was never that good at Paradox. I was, I gained a lot of popularity because I just ran simulations. But some of my best videos right now are me playing these strategy games, and again, when they're just easy to jump into, it's a lot more fascinating. I can get to more of the deeper. I think my commentary can just be better because I don't have all these different things running through my head, in the background. Like I got to remember to, make sure to increase my stability and what's my Diplo points at and administration and things like that. I'm just able to, boom, point, click, move troops, boom, attack. I can make my stupid geography jokes, bam, and it's been fun. So anyways, yeah, Paradox is going to be forced to, I think, go deeper into the strategy, because they will have that cornered for sure. Like when it comes to map games, I don't know if anyone is going to be able to compete with them. I can kind of confidently say no one is going to surpass Paradox. And that's like also kind of a warning for some of the developers that are trying to be at that level of depth. Bro, don't do that. That is not your specialty. If you have a small crew, I mean, Paradox, how big are they? Like they've got like 100 people now in the company. They probably have like 20 people per game constantly working. Don't try to do that. Lean into the fact that you're a small crew. Don't try to overcomplicate things. Make fun, easy, easy mechanics for, like I said in the very beginning, that are easy to jump into but hard to master. Do stuff like that. Experiment with faster things. So it's gonna be really interesting when Paradox does release games like EU5, which is obviously what they're which is what they're working on, and then assuming after EU5 we're gonna get Ahoy 4, Ahoy 5. After Europa Universalis 5, which I think will drop maybe the end of this year or early next year, That's just a complete guess. I have no idea. But we're gonna get the Hearts of Iron 5 eventually. That is going to be crazy. That is something I would definitely be watching very, very closely because I like Hearts of Iron 5, and I think Hearts of Iron 4 was such an impactful game. But when they release it, they're going to be these games that are going to be kind of bare bones. I mean, we saw it a little bit with Civilization 7. A lot of people complained about that. That was crazy to see that. And I mean, it's going to take probably years before Civilization 7 gets a really consistent viewer base on like Steam. I'm going to watch those very closely. The average players per day on Civ 7, it's going to suck. They're going to be, because right now it just released, so give it some time. But in like 3 months, that it's going to be boom. It's going to be bottoming out. It's going to look terrible, and it's going to take years, just like Civ 6 did. But that's the same thing that more than likely Paradox is going to have to come to expect whenever they release EU5 and eventually Hearts of Iron 5. But yeah, these games are going to be bare bones, and they're not going to have the depth that their older games have. So I think the games that I cover on Druwu are really going to start to dominate, and that is why I think in the near future, Paradox is going to have a lot of trouble because they're going to be in these in-between phases between their like really big cash cows. I was just watching a video about like most viewed Steam game out of the Paradox series every single month or something like that. It was a great video. I can't remember who made that. And some of their big cash cows that are still like driving the company forward, EU4, Hearts of Iron 4, these games are getting really old. They're over 10 years old now. Well, EU4 is. So they're almost becoming 10 years old, and they're going to be in this weird transitional phase where even when they release EU5, the Paradox base is inevitably going to hate it. Like, it's just going to be so, you just can't, it's impossible to release a strategy game on day one that is as good as your 10-year-old game that's been developed every single year. It is impossible. So everyone's going to hate it, and it's going to take years to build up. So they have to first just release that game. Then they have to do like 2 or 3 years to make it even probably good enough to play for the fan base, for a subset of the fan base. So like I said, I mean, that the whole point of this video is they're going to be in trouble. I do think they're going to be in trouble. And every single year that goes by, this is like the first time on my gaming channel where I feel like there's becoming too much to cover. There's too many things that I want to do on my gaming channel with all these games, with all these, amazing Paradox style games that are constantly releasing new and new updates, and these developers are really committed, and they're making bank too. I can tell a lot of these developers of the games that I'm playing they're rolling in the dough. So they're moving fast, they're trying new things, they're being experimental, and they're giving the people what they want when it comes to just being able to paint a map. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. Paradox got big because people wanted to just paint a map. And I was begging people, like I said, like 5 years ago, just to be like, please give me something. It would have been impossible for me to have tried this 5 years ago, for me to have tried a gaming channel where I cover map, like geography type games outside of Paradox. Literally impossible. Maybe there'd be like 1 or 2. And that's why the style of video has changed so much. If you go back and look at my uploads 4 years ago, they've really changed, where like now I'm just covering this type of history strategy. So anyways, I don't know, just something that's been on my mind today. I just wanted to talk about it.